Welcome to OmniStrikers! This is our first official video breaking down what's been going on in gaming this past week. And wow, there was a substantial amount of news. I thought there was going to be a few stories and a major release of a game or two, but no, that's not what happened. We're going to be covering the release of Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, layoffs across the gaming industry, and finally some recently released games that playfully, visually, and narratively might have something going for it. Now, let's get started. Last Thursday marked the release of Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, a continuation of Final Fantasy VII Remake. The latter was released April 10th of 2020 and was set to release sooner, but its production and planned release had a couple of delays, which put Remake and Rebirth behind schedule just like many other titles from the impact of COVID. If you were living in the US, COVID's shutdown was officially March 15th, 2020, and a lot changed virtually overnight. Many of us were stuck at home, and good games of nostalgia, in-depth storytelling, and world-building really stood out for gamers. Once people beat Final Fantasy VII Remake, fans waited anxiously for the next installment of this three-part release, especially because it wasn't always known to be released in three parts. So anxious, in fact, that Final Fantasy VII Rebirth won the Game Awards' most anticipated game of 2023. Now it's out and packs a serious punch in depth, art, music, world building, and creative direction amidst a fan base who's very familiar with the original story. I must admit I'm slightly biased in favor of this game, but can't recommend it enough to others who are considering an RPG with a heavy emphasis on story and world building. I'll be playing this game aggressively when I can, and may have some guides to put up in between my news posts. So, early last week, I received notice of a blog post made by Sony under the headline, "Difficult News About Our Workforce." This statement was an explanation and contextualization of an email sent by Jim Ryan, president and CEO of Sony. This was sent out to their workforce stating that, through discussions over the past few months about the evolving economic landscape, changes in the way they develop, distribute, and launch products, and ensuring their organization is future-ready in this rapidly changing industry, they have concluded that tough decisions have become inevitable. Ryan goes on to say they have to restructure operations and reduce their workforce. The rest of the email details the specific areas and workforces impacted and give a headcount of 900 employees, or about 8% of their current workforce across all regions and several PlayStation studios, including Firesprite Studio and the London studio, which will be closed entirely. Later that evening, a post was made by DeckNine Games on X or Twitter of a 20% reduction of their staff. DeckNine is a game developer responsible for Life is Strange: True Colors and The Expanse, a Telltale series. The former garnered a lot of attention and won a Peabody Award for showcasing empathy as a superpower and the power of games as a medium for emotionally resonant storytelling. Their tweet stated, "DeckNine has been affected by the game industry's worsening market conditions. Today, which was at the time Tuesday the 27th of February, we made the difficult decision to lay off 20% of our staff," ending their statement with, "Please hire these people if you can." Finally, the very next day, Wednesday the 28th, reports were coming through about an announcement Electronic Arts made stating it was cutting 5% of its workforce. CEO Andrew Wilson announced to employees that they are sunsetting games and moving away from development of future licensed IP that they do not believe will be successful in their changing industry. This news was posted on EA's news page under the headline, "Continuing to Evolve Our Business and Teams, an update on our business from CEO Andrew Wilson," and stated this announcement was shared with EA employees. Later that same day, another post was made on EA's site by Laura Miele, president of EA Entertainment and Technology, echoing Andrew's statements of market conditions and players' needs changing, and added some detail for specific studios. Miele mentioned that they've decided to pivot away from early development on a Star Wars FPS action game to focus their efforts on new projects based on own brands while providing support on existing games. She goes on to mention Battlefield Studios, and that Marcus Leto, a co-creator of the Halo franchise, has made the personal decision to leave the Battlefield Studios project. Marcus himself recently tweeted that he was gut-punched to see EA lay off his team in response to Battlefield news that Ridgeline Games is shutting down. Lastly, Miele mentions for the mobile sector of EA that they are sunsetting Kim Kardashian Hollywood, Lord of the Rings, Tap Sports Baseball, and F1 Mobile. Last Monday, a complaint was filed to the U.S. District Court, District of Rhode Island specifically, by Nintendo against Tropic Haze LLC. Now, in legal terms, a complaint is the pleading that starts a case and sets a jurisdictional basis for the court's power, a cause of action, and demand for judicial relief, and filings of this type are public record. So they showed up on the docket where everyone could see it and news spread quickly. I searched Nintendo and Tropic Haze LLC, and this is what came up. What we have here is Nintendo initiating a suing of Tropic Haze LLC, an entity that owns, develops, and operates Yuzu, a video game emulator for Nintendo Switch games. Nintendo was claiming that Yuzu unlawfully allowed Nintendo Switch games on devices other than the Switch itself. The filing further describes how Yuzu was doing this while clarifying piracy. I'd imagine this was going to take a while for the lawsuit to be completed, and in the middle of my recording for this piece, I found a joint motion was filed Monday, March 4th, where Tropic, Haze, and Nintendo consented in favor of Nintendo, resulting in monetary relief totaling $2.4 million. Now, if anyone tries to access Yuzu's website, they're met with this message, clarifying that Yuzu's support of Citra is no more. Citra's website as well shows this same message. In gaming news, Comp 2, developed by Graphite Lab and published by Atari, was released February 20th. This is the second installment of Comp, first released in February 2021, and is all about breaking barriers and solving puzzles as a ball where timing, patience, and simple puzzle mechanics guide you through small 2D worlds. Comp and Comp 2 serve as a kind of sequel to the original Pong, which came out in 1972. Comp 2 looks unique, has some interesting music, and if you're the type to enjoy puzzle games that have complexity through a simple input system, this may be a hidden gem for your enjoyment and well worth trying. It currently runs for about $20, and if you've tried it, leave a comment and let me know what you think about it. Balatro, a deck-building roguelike video poker style game, also hit Steam February 20th. And somehow already has over 12,000 reviews, with about 97% of those reviews as positive as of the date of this report. This marks the game on Steam's list as an overwhelmingly positive game. Balatro was developed by LocalThunk, a fairly new developer by the looks of it, and published by Playstack, which grounds itself on supporting similar, smaller developers. This game is filled with eye-popping pixelated animations, low-res funky synth music, and a rogue-style gameplay that's garnered a lot of attention, selling 250,000 units in the first 3 days of its release, according to Steam. If you like card games and have a basic understanding of poker hands, or maybe even if you don't, you might enjoy this little game, which seems to be getting a lot of attention. Robin Hood, Sherwood Builders, a game developed by MeanAstronauts and published by PlayWay SA, was released February 29th. It's an open-world action RPG that incorporates survivalist tasks and base-building gameplay. You play as Robin of Locksley, living in refuge in the town of Sherwood, while pillagers and warlords are fighting for territory and power. It has mixed reviews on Steam, but it seems to have some players hooked with its base-building elements and open-world explorations. It's currently on sale on Steam for $26.99, but the offer ends March 7th. The last game we're mentioning here is Pacific Drive, a survivalist game that's just you and your car in a reimagining of the Pacific Northwest. It's a game of mystery and supernatural occurrences as you build up your station wagon to go into the radioactive Olympic exclusion zone. The zone is where you'll scavenge materials for repairs and upgrades while finding out what happened after a secretive organization, ARDA, conducted experiments to the area in the past, leaving strange, life-threatening dangers. Pacific Drive was developed by Ironwood Studios and published through Kepler Interactive. Kepler Interactive has a very unique set of games also worth exploring that have had consistently decent scores on Steam. Pacific Drive released February 22nd and runs for about $30. If you've played it, please let me know in the comments because I'm genuinely curious how others are experiencing the story. Now that's all I got, so thanks for tuning in to our stories and games of the week. It took more time than expected to complete this video, but I hope you liked it and found it at the very least informative about what's been going on in the gaming industry. I'm a team of one here, so researching and compiling all this information takes effort and a lot of time, but I want to be transparent with the process and share sources as I come across them. All of them are listed in the description below. I do have an X or Twitter account where I share some stories before they're shown in these videos, so if you're curious, you can follow me on the below Twitter handle. If you enjoyed this video, please hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, share it to friends, family, pets maybe, I don't know. But either way, I will see you next week.